Okay, your notes for today, it's going to be kind of let's do it this way. Another thinking map. That's what I call these. So I do my notes. And you're going to have this grid here. And what I want to see, we're going to talk about all types of different types of equations. If I do that one, if I do and then this one here is where we were kind of just having issues. So why don't you just copy down all of these different one-step equations. These are all one-step equations, okay? And you're just going to think of the opposite operations, and if you're good right now, awesome. But I want to see your separation bar. And the whole point is to write this down here. Isolate the variable. And what do I mean by that? Isolate the variable. If you're playing like Kobe Bryant, one of the best one-on-one basketball players, they would call this play called ISO, where you would isolate. He would be on the top of the key with the ball all by himself, and the players would just kind of spread out, so he could be one-on-one with the player guarding him. Isolation. You want to get the x all alone, or whatever variable it is. All right, you want to get the x all alone. That's the whole point. All right, the x has to be by itself. Now, is there an invisible 1 in front of that x? Yes, but we don't write the 1. We just put the x there by itself. All right, so the first one I'm going to look at is up here in the corner. Now, if I'm looking at this is 5 times x. When they're right next to each other, you could do 5 times x, or it might say 5 times a number, all right? Well, what's the opposite of multiplication? You're going to divide to both sides. We're going to see times, opposite is to divide, or division, all right? So to get rid of this 5, you have to divide this, all right? To both sides, x now equals 5 into 30. Again, this is review. You guys got to know how to do this. This is old stuff, all right? What's 5 over 5 equal? Doesn't it just equal 1 whole anyways? That's how it cancels out, okay? All right, down here, x plus 5. Well, what's the opposite of plus? Minus is the opposite, all right? Minus is the opposite, so we're going to go ahead and subtract 5 to both sides. This is going to be x equals 30 minus 5. 25. Okay. Plus 5, to get it over here, to move it on over, you got to subtract 5. All right. Here, this is a little different. X is going to end up on this side. It's over here. What's over here with x we have to get rid of? I have x minus 5. Add 5, 4. We're going to call it opposite operation. That's what they kind of call it in the book. They either call it opposite operation, or they use a fancy word called inverse operation. Just like the word reverse goes backwards, inverse means opposite. Okay? So how do you get rid of this negative 5? You're going to go ahead and add 5 to both sides, and you're going to get 35. All right? And you can always check your work, can't you? Can't I say, okay, if 25 was x, is 25 plus 5 30? Yeah. If I put 6 here for x, is 5 times 6 30? If I put 35 here for x, is 35 minus 5 30? And then up here, what is this one? This is x divided by 5, right? X divided by 5. What's the opposite of division? Multiply 5 for opposite operation, okay? And that's how you would get rid of this division of 5. You would multiply it by a 5, okay? So then x would equal 30 times 5 is actually 150, okay? This is the tough one. The division sign, when you want to get rid of a division, you got to multiply. You want to get rid of the multiplication of something, you got to divide, okay? All right, all 4 of these different rules come into play, and you have to have them written down. Hopefully you're hitting pause during this. All right, this is the first notes today. Second one, we're going to do a multi-step equation. This is a flow map. All right, so first problem, I'm going to go ahead and write this down. All right, and there's your question for today. All right, and we're going to go over how to do these today. So your first step, I'm going to put the first step down here. Distribute the 3 into the parentheses. Distribute means multiply. So you're going to multiply everything in there, okay? So you're going to take this 3, multiply it times the 2, x, and the 4. 3 times 2x, 6x. 3 times 4. And what does it all equal? 24. Okay? That's your first step. We had to get rid of these parentheses. You can't have those in there. You got to get rid of them by distributing, by multiplying. Okay? You distributed the 3. 3 times 2 is 6. You bring down the x. 3 times 4 is 12. Bring it down. Now, you have 6x plus 12 equals 24. This would be the second step. Draw separation bar and deal with the constant. And I'll show you what I mean. So you draw your separation bar. Again, this is variable with the letters. These are both constants. And your whole goal, ooh, you can't see that, my bad. This is your variable with your coefficient 6 of the variable, 6 x's. And these numbers here are your constants. And your whole goal is to get your variable on one side and your constants on the other. Okay? So, your variable's on one side, and you're going to deal with your constants. You got to move this 12 over. How do you move a positive 12 over? You're going to have to subtract 12. Okay? This is going to be 12 and 6x here. Now, I'm going to write that note on the bottom there that you should subtract 12 to both sides. Okay? And then now, your last step. So this is a 3-step problem. All right? You're going to get rid of that 6 because you still want your final answer to be x all by itself. How do you get rid of multiplication of 6? We did it just now on our map. X, 6 into 12, x is going to equal 2 times. And down here, we're going to write it out. Third step, divide 6 to both sides. And solve. Okay? And that's basically doing a 3-step problem with the distributive property. You're going to have to do these later on today. These are not too difficult, but we're going to level up next tomorrow. So you have to know what you're doing today. All right, guys? Best of luck. Do the best you can with these notes. You're going to have these down come 1 o'clock.